Now see, this is where I completely missed that cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I missed that cutscene, but I missed that cutscene. So, that cutscene is an important cutscene where you want to see what's going on between, Hoffman and anybody else, and anybody else's, relations with Hoffman. So, he may say that she's his favorite, but he gives her so much reason to fear him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, there's another thing about the writers that they should have done. It says the diary continues. Well, if the diary continues, you should put all of them. You should put all of the entries that are, mostly notable. And it says particularly interesting. That means the other ones were interesting, but this one's just more so. So, and
it could have explained all the stuff that started when she came, because yes, that could be the Rule of Rose stuff, but I have a feeling that I think something was going on with Mr. Gregory and him. I have a feeling. Because wouldn't he go after her?
Who?
Mr. Gregory Wilson. Wouldn't he go after Jennifer?
Wendy took her place.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There was no need to. Wendy was there.
Yeah.
But did Wendy take her place as early as January or bleh? Yeah, January. Because
She probably did.
But wait, she had no reason to hate her then. So why would she?
It was probably around February, and he probably was looking, but he didn't know where to look.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking an orphanage.
Although that is a very obvious answer.
No.
Well, he wasn't a very obvious man.
Yeah.
He was kind of irrational. So he probably wouldn't have looked in the most obvious place. Alright, since it says okay, Mr. Hoffman leaves disappears before Martha does. So, it's questionable as to why Martha doesn't, make any note of this in her letter. But then again, we can also assume that since she's not really paying attention to Hoffman or anything...
That or he made an official... He told Martha.
He could have told Martha, but not the children.
Yeah. That's possible.
He might have left, late at night, but Jennifer just happened to see him running away.
Nobody...
No one saw him leave. It's in his diary. I'm leaving the orphanage. Clara's here to look after things, and the children are quickly growing up. I've done right and fulfilled my duty. All the trouble started when that wretched child arrived. I've done nothing to deserve this. So basically, he thinks all of his troubles are derived from Jennifer, which everybody else seems their troubles are derived from Jennifer, whenever it's not that. Their true problem is with Wendy, who's making everything bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
They all think that it's all going back to Jennifer, but it's not. It's actually Wendy, who's above Jennifer, who's been there longer, and who's basically pulling the strings with everybody else.
And then, if you look in the closet, it says, that day Mr. Hoffman disappeared like he was running away from something. He had tried too hard to be someone he wasn't. The expectations were too much for him, and he wanted to escape those restrictions. However, children and adults live in the same world, and we must both play by society's rules.
Okay, this is going back to Clara and Dr. Hoffman, because this is where I have the most fun. Is that there is so much theory between those two that Clara and Dr. Hoffman, there was something going on between those two, because he always is seen with her. Almost always he's seen with Clara, or he's seen near Clara. Almost always. There's only two exceptions, where he's with Diana and where he's having his own boss fight. And those are the two exceptions. He's almost
I'm
always...
glad the boss fight is an exception, because if Clara was a second boss with him, I would have screamed.
But anyway, Clara, she was so afraid of him. There's proof of that she was fearful of him because
she's labeled the frightened princess.
Labeled the frightened princess. And the fact that there's one in January. Was it January? No, it was in November. There's in November. Do you still have that up, Kat? Because I think I'd have you read it, because I don't have that up anymore.
I'm going. Talk.
I'm going. There's where she is in the sick bay with Doc, and before you leave the sick bay, Dr. Hoffman interrupts, and he comes in the room and asks for her to come with him. Do you have it yet? Because I can't stall anymore.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
The frightened princess would not face the unlucky girl for some reason. Today, the day after, and on, she was all alone. What an unhappy, unlucky girl. And then Hoffman cries for Clara. She seemed to be forcing herself not to cry as she slowly walks towards Hoffman. She pauses at the door, but Hoffman takes her shoulder and leads her inside. She shuts and locks the door. He shuts and locks the door. He, then, basically patronizes her while she's wiping the floor of the sickbay, and he says, "Look, there's some dust over there, give it a wipe."
So, there's so much as to why Clara is afraid of him, but we can only see that he basically orders around like she is his personal slave. But I've seen a whole bunch of stuff. I actually don't know why it's gone now, but there was a whole bunch of theory as to why Clara's like that. And one person commented on one of my videos on Clara, where I was talking about Clara, that it was a possibility that she was also, being sexually harassed by him, raped. So, that could also be a possibility.
It is a possibility.
Do you think that, though?
I actually like that idea. It could very well be.
Then that does, because remember this, they put down that there was something about the mermaid boss fight that I remember reading about how she possibly might have gotten pregnant. And that she was having morning sickness when the mermaid threw up on you. And that Jennifer saw it. But she had an abortion, and that's why nobody ever saw the child come to fruition.